fine. Let me just share the thing. Yeah, okay. Share the screen. Okay, so if you guys can mute yourselves, that'll be great. Okay, so we did see last time. One sec, let me just adjust here. Okay. I don't know. Those of you who weren't there, I think they should go back to the last recording, and that will help and bring continuity in everything. Now we saw the Dwadasha Aditya. Today, what I'm going to do is cover the in depth what it is about the Aditya or the sun god that is so vital in Vedic, and it's like the building blocks. And the other key building block is basically the devatas or the gods. You know, everybody talks about in Hinduism about like, oh my god, there's like some 33 crore or how many ever, you know, like millions of deities, millions of gods and all that. But essentially there is the core 33 which all the Vedas and Puranas and all the ancient texts refer to, and everything else is all else is a manifestation of various forms of it. So please don't get daunted. We'll go through the core ones, and then we'll have a better idea. And there is a great mantra. It's called the Mahamrutyunjaya mantra. Which we will cover in. It's only 2 lines, but it was given by Lord Shiva to Shukracharya, the Venus, you know, god of Venus. So it has got a lot of relevance and a lot of power in the Vedic scriptures, and it's straight from Rig Veda. It's often mentioned in other Vedas too. So let's kick into first the sun signs or the Rashis. You all know that the sun signs is called Rashis, and the sun travels 1 degree a day, and often we say, you know, that what's your Surya in? That is, what's your Surya Rashi? And by default in India, and even like even in my tradition that we come, the Vedic tradition I come from, often by default we say, what's your Rashi? Now when they say that, they don't mean the ascendant, they don't mean the sun sign, they mean the moon sign. So there is a like a kind of like a, it's like a local you know, often the moon is also called your moon sign is referred to as a Rashi. So what's your Rashi? What's your Rashi? Any astrologer you go to in India, they will always say Lagna, which is ascendant, and sun sign, which is like, you know, Surya, where's your Surya, and where's your Rashi, which literally means where's your moon sign. So please be aware of these 3 distinct differences, and it's quite different to you know, the Western. Now here I'm not going to go too much into the astronomy. We will look at the 12 lunar months next couple of you know, sessions. But here the Saura Varsha is a year, Saura is to do with solar, is measured as equal to 365.242 days long, and it is becoming gradually shorter by about half a second per century. So this is the movement of the sun, well actually the movement of earth around the sun. Now there are 2 motions in keeping in line with this particular solar year. There are 2 particular motions of the moon that we derive, we have a way of looking at. One is the sun moon conjunction that happens every month, okay? The other one is the nakshatras, where the moon passes through each nakshatra you know, per day, and that is another way. It also has its own sort of little calculations. Again, if you guys do want to know the significations and all that, you would want to look at the nakshatra workshop at a later date or the recording. So but right now we are going to tackle about the 12 lunar months because they are vital. So essentially the sun goes the moon goes with the sun, so there are 12 conjunctions, and so the names of the month are based on the nakshatra position of the full moon that happens every month. So you see, that is how they determine the lunar months in a year. And of course there is a intercalary month, we all know that, and that is also I've explained it in the nakshatra workshop, so please refer to that. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this session for today. Now again, we saw the names of the 12 Rashi signs, as well as the planet sign. So again, I'm just going to whiz past this. We won't go too much into it. I want to just get to the core of this. I'm going to spend a few minutes on the devatas or the devas. Now, why would we even link the devas with Vedic, with Jyotish? Why? And why would we even bother with it? I think I've already kind of in previous sessions alluded that all Jyotish underpinnings is the Vedic knowledge, and they are the stronghold of all the various devas. Through the agency of the devas or the devatas, there are kind of like many names for them. You are able to access that knowledge, that body of knowledge, and after accessing it, you can alter your consciousness. It's only through knowledge. Now again, this is beyond discussion why we would want to even alter consciousness, so I'm not going to go in there, but it is for spiritual evolution. And bear in mind, when they did the whole study of Jyotish is all about spiritual evolution. We have we have sort of indicators of whether you will get moksha, how interested you are in your spiritual evolution. There are specific divisional charts or harmonic charts which allude to that. It's kind of like a vast study. But even in the Navamsha, the D9 chart, which is the ninth harmonic chart, where you take the ninth house and examine it in great depth, which is nothing but the D9 chart is nothing but the chart of destiny and relationships. From there, we examine, who's your guiding devata, or who is going to take you while you are dying, come to get you, and which loka or which world will you be able to go to, what kind of karma is pending in your life. All these very difficult, very kind of contentious questions are answered by the D9. There are other charts that answer it, but D9 is definitely the first go-to. Now, the word deva or divu, is in Sanskrit, as we call. The reason for, it's derived from divu, which is kind of like the light, the divine light. And the reason why we need them is because to give us the sporting, the krida, the vijijisha, the kind of like conquest, to be able to overcome obstacles. And it's like our occupation and pursuit. What are we meant to do, as guiding figures? For duty, for intellectual inspiration and brilliancy, for stuti, like for praising, for pleasure, for gaining praise, pleasure, exhilaration, intoxication. This kind of the mother is not entirely like intoxication coming from alcohol, but it is to do with like ideas, and where it's a state of mind more than just kind of alcoholic in nature. Swapna is dream states, and Kanti is splendor, and Gati is direction of movement. That is movement of our path in life? Where are we moving to? Are we moving towards creating more negative, difficult karma, or are we moving towards kind of shutting the boxes and kind of moving towards a more sort of elevated path and a more highly spiritual one? Which direction are we moving to? Whether it is in keeping with our sun soul sign, or is it going to be an antithesis or taking us away from our soul sign? So all that is the purpose of the deva, and he's nothing and literally but a guru, guide, illuminator who will kind of light up our spiritual path. And all the creation is by devtas, all life on earth is created by them, and there are indeed 33 core devas. And again, the theory of devatas, and I'm going to split that up and you'll know. There are the sun, the moon, the fixed stars, constellations, which is nakshatras, the pancha tattva, which is nothing but the 5 great elements or the states of existence of all matter and energy that we are made of. And these matter and energy, these 5 states are mapped to the planets. I think I've been going on banging about this for like past 4 sessions now. And Indra is the demigod who's controlling the indriyas, or the senses, all our senses, and the working of our brain as well as the intelligence of creation. Then we have Prajapati, the creator, the progenitor of our entire universe. It's why we are here. And of course, the 4th principle is the Lagna, or the ascendant, representing Prajapati, the ultimate creator. Brahma doesn't get involved in the creation, even though he is the creator. But it's like, the CEO. He's not going to sit there manufacturing. If it's a button manufacturing company, he's not going to start, controlling the machines. He will assign the jobs to his subordinates. And that is how Prajapati comes into the picture. He's like the controlling CEO, but Brahma is like the main director. So he's not going to get into the nitty-gritties of things. And that is how the whole cosmology moves and churns forward. And Indra is, of course, the 10th house, and it is the throne of the zodiac, and it is the point in the mid-heaven. And so I think you've got an idea about that. Next few sessions, we will do Lagna or ascendant sign in great depth. We will come to that. Now, here is a core Devatas pantheon. Lord Indra, I told you, as he's like the creation, along with Prajapati, who's the Om. He's like the Omkara. He's the ultimate creator. And then we have the 8 Vasus. And I'm going to come to the 8 Vasus. And then the Ekadashi Rudras, where Rudra, the word Rudra in Sanskrit means crying, Rud, to cry. And it's all about, kind of death and death-like situations. And their job is to help you not die before time. Apamrutyu, so that's their job. And they are 11 Rudras in number. And then we have the 12 Adityas, who are nothing but the 12 sun gods. And they are the givers of all the abundance. It's everything, including the wealth of knowledge, everything, wealth about each sign, where your sun sign is. The giver of that is the Adityas. And all of this number adds up to 33. Now let's see, the 8 Vasus are the upper Dhruva, Soma. Dhruva is the pole star. Upper is like the Jala, or the water element, and they are like the Adhikaris, presiders over the fire ceremonies and things like that. Dhara is like Prithvi Tattva, or material or solid sort of element, which is represented by Dhara. He presides over it. Anila is like Tattva, or the Vayu Tattva, which is the air element. Anala is Agni, which is the energy that we need to sustain ourselves. Dhruva is the pole star. Dhruva, or the pole star, has a huge significance in the Vedic cosmology. And Akash Tattva is nothing but ruled by Jupiter. It's where the zodiac is fixed. And it's also the concept of Ayan Namsha comes in, you know, because it's all the domain of the sky and time. And then we have Soma, which is nothing but the moon. Pratyusha, and that is the recurring dawn, that is the sun as causing the night and the day, the source of light behind dawn, and that is under Pratyusha. And Prabhasa, these are the splendorous lights of the stars, which is nothing but the nakshatras or the fixed star constellations. So these make up the 8 Vasus. And then we have the 8 Rudras. The 8 Ekadashi Rudras, again, like I said, they are anytime you have a death-like situation, you get into an accident, whom do you appeal to? You want to recover from your, you know, kind of like negative karmic sort of, you know, like poverty or loss, or you know, entire family has got wiped out through some illness or some calamity or the other. You know, COVID has come and got you know, uh, quite a few of your elderly members of the family. What do? Whom do you appeal to? It's the Rudras, because only they can help you in you know, overcoming this. And the 11 Rudras are here: Ajay Ekapada, Ahir Budhnya. Now, some of these are also the deities for the nakshatras. So please, like I said, a lot of the stories, lot of the deities are interconnected. Aprajita, Pinakin, Jayanta, Savitri, Triambaka, Bahurupa, these are all various names of Shiva. So then we get a very great idea that essentially Lord Shiva kind of, it is being a Rudra is one of his core forms, and he takes in the form of the 11 core Rudras. Then we also have the nose of the moon, are the destroyers. There is no doubt about that. Rahu is kind of always wanting to take you out, you know, out of this planet, so that he can give you another birth and get you to tempt you into another birth and another endless cycle of births. While Ketu wants to take you out because he doesn't want you to come back here. He wants you to get instant moksha. He wants you to be on a ultimate, just give up all material desires, everything that you want to consume. He wants to just give up and say, go towards higher lokas or higher planes. That's the job of Ketu. So and the Pancha Tattvas in Jyotish, again, I'm repeating this: Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn stand for the 5 great elements. So basically, the Rudra can be viewed as the binding forces in any created being. So essentially, Rudra is kind of, you know, they stand and help you to overcome premature death, or, you know, kind of excess of sorrow and disabilities of every kind and disasters. And that is how they help us. But they have to do the job. Like the great serpents are also fall under the category of Rudra. So now we come to our focus for today is only the 12 Adityas, because they are the givers of abundance and wealth. They are the bright lights. Unlike the Rudras, where there's constant you know, constant crime, the Adityas are like splendorous in their outlook and you know, and splendorous in their light. Okay, now before we proceed, this is relevant because the 33 Devatas have the Triambika Mantra, which is nothing but the 32 syllable mantra, which is the Anushtup Chanda. Anushtup Chanda is like a meter, it's like a rhythm in Sanskrit. So all the mantras and all the ancient texts are written in Gayatri Chanda or Anushtup Chanda, or there are many, many chandas. And each of these chandas or meters or rhythmic verses are written in certain number of syllables. And these syllables are very sanctimonious and they all have a purpose. Now, Anushtup Chanda is what is 32 syllables and +1 alluding to Indra, and that is comes to the total comes to 33 syllables, and that makes up the Triambika Mantra, which is the death conquering mantra. And this is Hom Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urava Rukamiva Bandhanan Mrutyor Mukshya Mamrutat. At the end of this, we will do like a little practice for this, because this is one of the most beautiful mantras. There are loads of YouTube videos on this, and it's basically, if you recite and chant this mantra, it is definitely helping you with all death-like situations, and it removes the fears and bondages of all kinds, and there is a beautiful meaning to it, which again we may cover at a later stage. So here we go with the Adityas. Now we know that the Adityas are called, they are the distributors of food, because they map into the sun signs, or the sign, every sign, and each sign is unique in Vedic. Let's whiz past. This is something I'll come back to the slide, because this is kind of very important. Now these are the various Adityas. One is for Dhata, it's the Surya Aditya. So each of these, I think it is best if you memorize the names, especially what yours is. That is extremely vital. Now, again, these are the different signs mapped to the different Adityas. So now you may well ask that where am I getting all this knowledge of Adityas? This is coming from Samba Purana. It's one of the key Puran, and it's also coming from the Surya Upanishad. And this text is dedicated to Surya, nothing but the sun god. And this was Lord Krishna's son, Samba. And that's why it's named after him, the Samba Puran. And getting infected by leprosy after being cursed by sage Durvasa. Remember, we covered this anecdote where he dressed up as a pregnant woman and he pranced in front of all the sages who were like seriously busy writing all the scriptures, and he was kind of toying and fooling around and said, look, I'm pregnant, can you predict when the baby is due? And all the sages got really annoyed, and especially sage Durvasa, who had a huge temper, and he basically cursed him with leprosy. And so consequently, he cured himself by worshipping Surya in the temple constructed by him in Mitravana on the banks of Chandrabhaga, which is northern India. And the whole narrative is presented as a conversation between King Brihat Bala of Ikshvaku dynasty and sage Vashishta. Sage Vashishta is a very, very important figure in the Vedas. He's a writer of a lot of the Vedas, as well as he's connected with the planet Saturn. So now there are many names in Vedic scriptures for the sun god. The 24 key names have been enumerated in the Samba Puran, and over 1,000 names are detailed from everywhere. Now, the sun god is called the Aditya. Literally, it's the Aditya. And Aditya in Sanskrit is coming from Aditi, who is the wife of Sage Kashyap, and who also Sage Kashyap is the represents the sun, the planet sun. And so the Vedic experts call it Aditya because his mother is Aditi. She's the mother of all the gods, and definitely the sun god. And he's also called Saviti because Savitur comes from Savita, and which is nothing but energy and light that flows through the sun. And all these creatures bore from him and dissolve in him. There is also many other words used like Arka, and Bhaskara. Again, they all allude to the effulgent, the glorious, and there are many, many names for that. Now let's begin with the Aries. Now please note here, April 15th to May 14th is when the sun is in Aries. And this is the Dhata Aditya. And it is now, remember I mentioned earlier about the lunar months? Hello, does anybody have any question? Hello? Anyone, any questions? No?
No, clear. Everything clear. Thank
Okay,
you.
lovely. So now I'm coming to basically, I mentioned that I'm going to take the lunar months in depth next time. But the lunar months basically is when we get a full moon in one of the nakshatras. And each nakshatra has a deity connected to it. And the month, the deity lends its name to that particular month. And usually they are like the polar opposite. Now, I know it's a little bit of a tall order right now to grasp this, but we will come to that again later. But suffice to know, for the moment, Dhata is the Aditya for the sun in Aries, or if you have sun in the first house. Now, this may come as a surprise to a lot of you. That, hey, you know what, if you have, let's say, sun in Libra in the first house, it will have a flavor of Dhata Aditya. And that's the beauty of it, because the first house is like Aries. The first natural house is in the Kalpurusha, the sign of Aries, and that is connected to Dhata. And that is usually this month from April 15th to May 14th is the lunar month of Kartikeya. And here the mantra for that is Hom Grine Dhata Aditya. That's the mantra. And the word Grine is pronounced as like Giri, as in ritual, and so it's like Grine. So it's like a phoneme, Grine. So here it is, Grini. So that's how, Grini. So this is a general mantra for Surya, Hom Grine, Surya Aditya. I think I forgot to put it in, it's in Sanskrit, but I forgot to put it in English, but never mind, I will put it later on the chat. But here, the Hom Grine Dhata Aditya is your mantra if you have, let's say, sun in the first house or sun in Aries. Okay? And the meaning of this is it's the form of Prajapati. That means they are responsible for everything, for all sorts of creation on this planet. Everything that comes, that creates all creatures, it has a kind of like a forthcoming, like a creative, like initiating energy, a lot like the Western Aries sign, So that is the fundamental energy associated with Dhata Aditya. So, and they're constantly on the move. So that's a very core trait of Dhata Aditya. Then we come to the second house, or Taurus, or Vrishabha, which is Aryaman Aditya. So that is from May 15th to June 14th. And it's in the second house, akin to the second house. And it shines forth with 1300 rays. That's from Samba Puran. I couldn't resist it. There are kind of significations to do with that. There's a lot of material. There's a whole text on just the sun. But this is kind of has relevance. But I just thought, we won't go into like in depth of the astronomical, what's the relevance of 1300 rays. I mean, come on, sun, 1300 rays, but there is significance to that. But I've just put it for the moment, so we leave it at that. And it's in the month of Chaitra. That means there is a full moon in Chaitra between May 15th to June um, uh, 14th, and he dwells as in air and facilitates the air within our body. So there is a lot to be said about everything to do with like breathing. And obviously it's like the Taurus, it's like the second house. So everything to do with like, you know, mouth and face area is mapped into Taurus as well. You need to be aware of that. We will cover that, the various body parts, but I'm just mentioning it because it says air and it facilitates the air within our body. And it's also fast, and they are like fast moving, you know, in terms of their performances and things like that, because the Aryaman is a very, very fast moving. There's a lot of myth associated with Aryaman, which I'm not going to go into too much in detail because we have loads of things to see. Hi, yes, hello. uh, can you switch off your
Sorry. Sorry.
uh, yeah, thank you. And the mantra for this is Hom Grine Arya Man Aditya. Aryama Aditya. That's the main mantra. Can you switch that off, please? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so so Hom Grine Aryama Aditya, that's the mantra for it. So for example, if you were born between this time and you have or you have sun in the second house, that is your mantra. And this is a very, very powerful mantra. All the Aditya mantras are very general, but they are very powerful mantras. And typically they say you should do it during sunrise or right after sunrise, but of course before noon. Then we come to the third one, which is Gemini, which is Mitra Aditya. Mitra literally in Sanskrit means a great friend or friend, you know, friendly. And its lunar month is June 15th to July 14th. And it's the third house, of course. So if you do have sun in the third, no matter, even if doesn't matter what actual, even if you're not born between June 30th 15th and July 14th. But if you do have sun in the third, it will give you the benefits of sun in as a Mitra Aditya, as if the sun is in the third. It carries that energy. It carries the Gemini energy, you know, and it's in the lunar month of Vishakha. And it has 1500 rays situated on the banks of Chandrabhaka for the welfare of the universe. He performed the sacrifice by eating through his eyes the air. So basically, he accessed food and sustenance for himself just through eyes, through his organs. So that's kind of like, you know, the air element, of course, is very significant in Taurus and Gemini. Second and third house is a lot to do with, like, you know, the mouth, the, you know, the nose and the neck and things like that. So that is a very important factor. It is from here that he blesses his devotees with different kinds of boons. Boons is like wish fulfilling and desires fulfilling thing. Here it is exalted place of sun god, which was later built by Samba, that is Lord Krishna's son, who was cursed with leprosy. And the locations is known as Mitravana. Vana is nothing but forest, like a dwelling, and Mitra is the great friend. And Mitra literally means love and friendliness. So there is a lot to be said about Gemini. People who have third house sun or sun in Gemini or Mitra Aditya or Mithuna, they are extremely friendly no matter what, you know. Its ruler is Mercury, so there is a sense of friendliness to them. So, and the mantra is Hom Grine Mitra Aditya. Hom Grine Mitra Aditya. So let's move to the fourth one. So far, all good? Yeah. Okay, the Cancer one is Karka, which is Aruna or Varuna. Their both names are equally valid. Some places it's Aruna and some places Varuna. It's Varun Aditya, and it's the fourth house of the zodiac, and it is also synonymous to, akin to, having sun in the fourth house. And that's when you get the flavor, or the energy of Cancer, which is associated with Varun Aditya. And basically Varun dwells in water and is responsible for life of the whole world. Its original abode of water is the oceans, and oceans are the ultimate abode. It also grants boons, wishes, fulfilled desires, wish fulfillment. All of that is under Varuna. Oceans have a lot of significance to play. I would encourage you to Google or research further each of your sun Adityas. It's a very good exercise, because there is lot to it. A lot of these deities are not just kind of randomly picked up. There is a lot of backstories and a lot of episodes associated with each of these Adityas. So Hom Grine Varun Aditya is the mantra. Hom Grine Varunaditya. And then we come to the Leo, which is Simha Rashi, and Indra is the Aditya, and it's from August 16 to September 15, which is a month of Ashwini, and it's the fifth house sun. It has also carries the energy of Indra Aditya, and he's a ruler of gods. He's a son of Aditi, as we saw earlier, and Indra is the ruler of the gods. He's the form of Devaraja. He's shining forth with 1200 rays, and he's a supreme mastery over serpents, gods, demons. He has absolute control. Remember in one of the sessions we did about Indra, how he was covered with hundreds of vaginas all over his body because of his excessive wanting all the power and wanting all the pleasures and using all his senses to, he couldn't have enough. Finally, he was cursed by Shiva to have 100 vaginas. Oh, God knows how many, 100 or 1,000, irrelevant. But suffice to say, they were like enough to make him like absolutely go crazy with all the vaginas. And eventually, he altered and transformed his indriyas, or his senses, and his pleasure, his kind of pleasure-seeking nature, and he came forth through knowledge and through spiritual penance. He kind of transformed them into 100 eyes all over his body, looking at all the power, the power of knowledge he can get through the eyes. So that is Indra. So Indra has a lot of huge role to play in deep spiritual matters, but this is a journey that anyone with a fifth house sun, that's a bit like their journey. They are highly intelligent, but they will have to go through this kind of like, wow, I can get this, I can get that, I can get so many things, but then their pleasures, they will have to kind of curtail for a wider spiritual sort of path. So Hom Grine Indra Aditya is the mantra. Hom Grine Indra Aditya. Then we come to Virgo, which is Kanya, or it's also called Kumari, and the Aditya is Vivaswan, and it's from September 16 to October 16, which is in the month of Jyeshtha. And it also has the energies of the sixth house. So the sun is, if you have sun placement in the sixth house, then you do have the energy of Vivaswan. And he resides in all beings, where though it comes from the word Vivaswan, comes from Vasa, which is like residence. It resides in it and dwells in the fire and is responsible for digestive issues and all sorts of digestion of food in all of us. But it's also kind of like the fire that keeps us going. You know, a sixth house energy is very much about kind of sustaining energy. It's very much about, like, you know, getting us to move. It's like the fuel that we need to make things go forward. That's the energy of Vivaswan. So Hom Grine Vivaswan Aditya is the mantra. Hom Grine Vivaswan Aditya. Then we come to Libra, which is Tula, and the Aditya is Pusa or Pushan, and Pusa Aditya is from October 17th, active during 17th to November 14th in the month of Pusa, and it has an energy of seventh house sun. And it is extremely nourishing. It bestows nectar on everyone. It is responsible for food and feeding the entire planet, literally. That's their job. That's the job of Pusa Aditya. They are extremely, extremely powerful for in terms of matters of food and providing for food and being responsible for all the creature at all times. That's Pushan Aditya. And the mantra is Hom Grine Pusa Aditya. So far, so good? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So later you guys will have to repeat some of this to me, and at least for your own, you know, sign. Okay, then we come to Scorpio, which is also called Ali or Vrishchika, the sign, and its Aditya is Parjanya. Parjanya Aditya is active during November 15th to December 15th and it has energies akin to the Shravan Nakshatra and the 8th house. The 8th house has a very kind of, you know, mystical and occult like energy, and that is associated with Scorpio. And also the 8th house sun. 8th house sun will always make very good astrologer or very good like tantric, you know, or kind of like a light worker where there is a lot of occult and wisdom to be kind of researched and kind of a lot of things like that to be done. 8th house sun is absolutely perfect for that. And it is the Parjanya is associated with the thunderous roaring clouds, the sun in the form of clouds giving rain after roaring. And so essentially what that means is that it's the creator of rains. When rains come, we feel cool, we feel nourished as well, and we feel like there's like plenty of things to go around in terms of vegetation and things like that. And that is what Parjanya does. You know, he's like the rainmaker. He kind of like provides all the rain so that we don't all kind of die of drought and kind of like complete dryness of and paucity of food, and you know nothing is growing. So that is the key job of Parjanya. And the mantra is Hom Grine Parjanya Aditya. That's the main mantra. Hom Grine Parjanya Aditya. Then we come to Sagittarius. Dhanu. Anshuman is the Aditya, and he shines forth with 1500 rays in the month of Ashada Masa. Ashada is the month, and December 16th to January 13th is Sagittarius. And basically the principal kind of association is about love and universal love. That's Anshuman. And Anshuman also is established in air, and it pleases all the creatures. Essentially, it's all pervasive. And when we talk of all pervasiveness, it doesn't mean like it's kind of like toxic. It's kind of filled with deep, loving, unconditional connection, like a universal consciousness that would be falling under Anshuman Aditya. That's a very important concept because it shows how connected we are to everyone, how spiritual connection, deeply connected we are to the entire planet. And that comes under Anshuman Aditya. And the mantra is Hom Grine Anshuman Aditya. Hom Grine Anshuman Aditya. Then we come to Makar, Capricorn, which is Nakra. It's also another name is Nakra. Old Vedic name is Nakra. And it is, oh, by the way, I forgot that for Sagittarius, it is also akin to the having the sun in the ninth house. And it's kind of got a very universal, expansive nature, ninth house sun. You know, they are always into higher learning and all kinds of higher spiritual consciousness. So that ties up with all the universal love, which is their key thing. Bhaga Aditya is false for Capricorn Aditya, and he is from January 14th to February 13th. Or if you have sun in the 10th, that's Bhaga Aditya. And Bhaga shines forth with 1100 rays in the month of Magha. Magha is a beautiful month because when the sun goes into the Capricorn, sign of Capricorn, around January 14, 15, we have a great festival in India called the Makar Sankranti. Sankranti in Sanskrit and in Jyotish terms means 0 degrees, you know. So it's like, this is very important because 0 degrees, when the sun is 0 degrees of any sign, it's called Sankranti. And Sankranti, or for that matter, any planet at 0 degrees is in its Sankranti. But it is more specifically kind of associated with sun at 0 degrees, where it has left the previous sign and just that day entered the new sign. Now, in Vedic, there is a definitive problem if you have sun at 0 degrees. It's nothing to be alarmed of, but it is a problem. It's like, think of it like an emperor, like a sun god, like an illuminated being who's worn the clothes of the previous sign. And now he's just gone into another, through the door to another massive room, completely different. And he's just in the state of undress. He's kind of kicked off his clothes, the previous clothes he was wearing for a month. And now he's gone and he's kind of in a state of undress. That is the 0 degrees. And that is kind of a lot of problem because people born under 0 degrees of any sign, I'm talking specifically for the sun, is basically, it's called the Sankranti Dosha. Dosha is like an affliction. And so they will need to do some remedy. Otherwise, it will affect their health or some health or finances or something very vital in their life. So please bear that in mind. And it's not the end of the world, but it is something that you need to remember. Now, this particular, coming back to Capricorn and Makar Sankranti, which happens in January 14, it's a very, very auspicious time because the sun starts its transit from, you know, it's gone from the winter, and we are going to do next sessions the seasons as well, and how all the planets get mapped to the seasons. So the sun starts its journey, you know, it's called the Dakshina Ayana, so southern, you know, kind of transit, so, going from till Capricorn to Cancer is kind of like, you know, it's spring, summer. So the sun is absolutely beautiful, very, very strong. And that's why the Capricorn, you know, it's the Makar Sankranti is celebrated all over the country. People come out, fly kites, do all sorts of celebrations. There's a huge puja and things like that. It's a beautiful time. And so this particular Aditya associated with Capricorn is called the Bhaga Aditya. in Sanskrit, Bhaga literally means a portion, or it also means a sense of devotion. And it's all about he's served by all the gods. He subsumes all brilliance into himself. So literally everything about, brilliance. He's like the favorite of all the gods, and he's present in all of the earth as well as the bodies of human beings. So immediately we get a sense that Capricorn, being an earth sign, he's present in earth as well as the bodies of human beings. So that gives us a very important and vital clue about the sign of Capricorn, that the earth element is very, very strong here. And of course, the 10th house sun is got a very strong sense of like, direction, that, they have to achieve something very hardcore in terms of like something very concrete and leave behind something very concrete. And that is to do with the sign of Capricorn. and and Bhaga in Sanskrit also means like my portion. So often these people, sun in the 10th, or Surya in Makar, is associated with like, hey, where's my part, where's my portion in all this, so there's a very strong element of that, the ownership side of things. So the Aditya associated is Bhaga Aditya, and the mantra is Hom Grine Bhaga Aditya. Hom Grine Bhaga Aditya. Okay, now we come to Aquarius, Kumbha. Kumbha is absolutely beautiful. It has, even in Vedic, it has associations with the pot, with all the water. And it has, even in households, it is very auspicious to have pot of water in a copper pot, silver pot. Well, if you're really rich, you can have a gold pot, but like a copper or a silver container, like a little a pot, they say, and then put water in it and consume it like in the morning, leave it overnight. That has kind of very positive signification, and it's associated with Kumbha, Aquarius. And its deity is, it's Aditya, who presides over it is Twashta, Vishwakarma. And funny I said deity, because Vishwakarma is also one of the nakshatra for Chitra, deity for Chitra, nakshatra. So there are associations with Chitra over here as well, because of the joint ownership. And it is also similar to the sun in the 11th house. The sun in the 11th house is a very interesting placement. The 11th house gets, I'm afraid, gets a very negative kind of rep in the Vedic thing. It's the house where you will be tested, you will be punished, even though in the Western it's, and yes, indeed, there are some significations that the 11th house is the house of profits, and your desires getting fulfilled, wishes and dreams come true, and profits and gains, and all of the significations is also there. But 11th house is also the Rudra Bhava. It's a very sort of, it's where you're going to be punished, and we will come to later, as we go along through, in the future, you will see why the 11th house and planets in the 11th suffer a little bit. But the sun is an exception. The sun in the 11th is absolutely beautiful. It will wipe out all the negativity that is associated with the 11th house. So the sun in the 11th is a beautiful, placement. And it's Twashta Aditya comes into being between February 14 to March 14 in the month of Falgun. and they are responsible for creating all the medicinal herbs, plants, creation, systems, everything that has to be created. They will be responsible, the Twashta Aditya. So they have a kind of a great sense ability for creating and sustaining. And the name of the the mantra for that is Hom Grine Twashta Aditya. Hom Grine Twashta Aditya. Now we come to the last one, and that is Meena, Pisces. And this is to do with the Vishnu Aditya. And according to my guru, it's one of the best Adityas. It also has an energy of the 12th house sun. You know, it's a beautiful placement, even though, as we will see again later, a 12th house sun is in its Marana Sthana. That is, it is in its dying position in the 12th house, but yet a 12th house sun is very beautiful because it has Vishnu Aditya, you know, presiding over it. And it's occurs if you have sun, if you're birth between March 15th to April 15th, you belong to, you know, the Pisces or sun in Pisces, and the presiding Aditya is Vishnu. That's the Chaitra month, and Vishnu is in absolute, in Sarva Vyapak, as they say. You know, he is pervader of everywhere, and he can destroy everything that's negative. All the enemies of the gods he will destroy. So the Vishnu Aditya is a very, very powerful Aditya. And the and the mantra associated with it is Hom Grine Vishnu Aditya. Hom Grine Vishnu Aditya. So we have come to an end of the 12 Adityas. Any questions?
Where in the Samba Purana can you find all the information?
Good question. Many Puranas. You'll have to go through, wade through them.
Right.
I'm afraid there is no, but there is the Garud Puran, there is Agni Puran, and there is the Samba Puran. A lot of this stuff I've got from Samba Puran, which I mentioned earlier, right? So, yeah, so that is definitely there. Now, what I would like you to do is, I want you guys to unmute yourself and say this mantra. We didn't say the Guru mantra, by the way, which I forgot. But I want you guys to say this mantra, Hom Grine Surya Aditya.
Om Grine Surya
Aditya.
Good. One more time. Hom
Om
Grine.
Grine Surya
Aditya.
Aditya.
Lovely. Now, can somebody tell me now, you know, their placements and what house it is in?
I can give it a go. If you...
Yeah, go on.
So I'm a Virgo sun in 8th house. So Grini Vivas Swan Aditya.
1 minute. Tell me first your Virgo is, who's the Aditya for Virgo?
Aditya Virgo and Viva Swan.
Yes.
And then, oh yeah, that. And then the, Parajanya for 8th.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So do you want to say the mantra? Hom Grini
Grini
Viviswan
Aditya.
Yeah.
And Grini Parajanya Aditya.
Perfect.
Okay.
Lovely. Thank you. Yeah.
Them? Or is it better to do it separately?
Sorry?
Can you combine them? Or is it better to do just the mantra for the sun and then for the placement?
I think the main mantra would be for the actual sun placement.
Okay.
But you could also do the house placement. That will be also beautiful.
Okay, yeah.
But the main would be the sun in that particular sign,
Okay.
the Rashi sign, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Nate, go for it.
I'll need some help though, but okay, I'll give
Okay,
it a
go
shot.
on,
Actually,
tell me, what's the problem?
just basically, let me get the chart really fast. Can you hear me okay? My mic's different, so.
It's fine, I can hear
Cool.
you.
So in, so I guess in tropical, all my stuff's in Libra, but my sun, sidereally, it's at like 2950, and then my ascendant's at 2 Libra. So I guess super basic question. There's this idea of like there being like a 5-degree, like, oh, if something's by a house cusp, it's like in the first. Would that sun be in the 12th or in the first, even though it's a different sign completely?
I didn't quite. Do you want to put the data on?
Actually, if I can like hold up you'll be able to see it if it focuses. So that's kind of the idea.
So your rising sign is what degree?
2.
Okay. You know what? Would you want to give your details and we can put it on the software for everyone to see?
Sure. Yeah. Do you have it open?
Yeah, because I think this will be a good exercise for figuring out, because I think you guys are still coming to grips with the actual chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the software and you can tell me the details.
Yeah. Sure.
Let me just get it up and going. We have a few minutes. We can do a few more charts. Basically, essentially, we just have to see where the sun is, and you get the pronunciation right, and things like that. And that's really important. I think you guys need to kind of switch over to either the rectangle chart or the Surya chakra. I'll explain that. It's better to show it through an example.
Yeah, I was able to get one going in Solar Fire. But yeah,
oh, yes.
that was all I had on the phone just to show you. But yeah.
But that's a round chart though. We don't want round chart. We're not going to do round chart.
No, yeah, I was able to get the right one, but it's not on the phone.
Okay, sorry. My software is taking forever. Yeah, go on.
I'm gonna type in the details to you. That way it's easier.
Okay. In the
like
chat
in the chat
box?
Uh-huh.
Okay, go on then. Okay. Oops. Okay, please bear. Meanwhile, who's going next?
I'll go next.
Okay, go on.
This is Nicole. So I have sidereal sun in Scorpio in the 9th house.
Wow. So who's your Aditya for the sun in Scorpio?
So Aditya, you mean you mean the mantra for it? Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
Well, okay, so I think it's pronounced Om Grini.
Yes.
Parya Aditya.
A little, okay, you're getting there. Home Grini, Parjanya.
Parjanya Aditya.
Perfect.
And then so, and then the other one for the 9th house is Om Grini. Oh.
Yes.
Suman Aditya.
Yes, beautiful.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay, hang on one sec. Okay, Fort KNOX. And who's going next?
I can go next. I think
Okay,
I
go
gave you
on.
mine in the beginning. I've Sun in sidereal Leo, so that's Indra. And in the
Beautiful.
12th house, so that's Vishnu.
Beautiful. Now the mantra.
So Om Grine Indra
Aditya.
Aditya
Beautiful. Yeah.
and Om Grine Vishnu Aditya.
Wonderful. Okay. Now we are ready with his chart now. Sorry, I took long. I think the software takes. Let me now load up, share the screen in terms of the. Okay. This is his chart. Can everybody see here? Yes?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, now I am not, I know a lot of you guys will want, will want to sort of say, okay, can we have the glyphs? Can we have, but we are not going to have glyphs, I'm afraid. I think you just have to stick with the Vedic convention. AS is ascendant. And sun, this is SU, that's the sun. So where do you think his sun is?
In
Ninth house?
Sagittarius.
Ninth house.
Oh, sorry, hang on, one sec. Nate, you're born October, right?
Yeah, should be October 17th.
Yes, okay, got it, sorry.
And then,
Yeah, I was wondering why. Okay.
oh, I think my Yankee dating system threw you off.
Yeah, I know, I got a little bit offset by that, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, sorry about that. So here we are. What's his ascendant? Can somebody tell me his ascendant?
Libra, Tula.
Wonderful. Okay, and where is his sun?
12th house.
Virgo.
In Virgo.
Fantastic. So, and that's the 12th house, yes? Can everybody see that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So here it is. Can you see this chart? This is the Surya chakra, right? Here, this is how they put the ascendant. Here, this is a 7th house. Now, this chart, the square chart, is a little bit different because it is a lot like Western, where it is a moving zodiac. So if you are a Libra or whatever sign, the sign comes here. So it's 7, so it's Libra. But the Surya chakra is fixed. That means the signs never move. The signs are fixed. The ascendant remains. You just put the AS in the sign that the ascendant is in. Are you guys with me here? Yeah. And it takes a while to get the grips of it. So for example, Nat's ascendant is Tula or Libra. So this is where my mouse is hovering. Can everybody see the mouse hovering here? Yeah. So this is the 7th house because Aries is here. He's got Ketu in Aries. So once we start, let's start counting. Okay, this is Libra. That this is Scorpio, which is the 2nd house. He's got Mars and Jupiter there. 3rd house is
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
yes. 4th house,
Capricorn.
excellent. So you see that these are the 4 cardinal signs. They are always fixed, as in they don't move. Only the ascendant is moving. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's his 4th house from the ascendant, which is Capricorn. Then the 5th house is
Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
Does it have a planet there?
Saturn.
Saturn, yeah.
Okay. Then the 6th is here, which is
Pisces.
excellent. 7th is Aries with Ketu there. And 9th,
Gemini.
Taurus.
Oh, 8th is Taurus, and then 9th is Gemini.
okay, good. So
Yeah.
the Taurus, you got that, right? Excellent. And the 9th is Gemini.
Gemini. Yep.
And the 10th,
Cancer.
Cancer.
And that's got the moon there. Beautiful. That's really beautiful. Moon in its own sign in the 10th house. So 10th Lord in the 10th. What's this?
Leo.
Good.
Mhm.
So that will always remain Leo, whether there is a planet or not, whether maybe if there is an AS here, then that means you have a Leo ascendant, and then you start the count from here. So it's anti-clockwise. And then the 12th house is
Virgo.
excellent. And Sun and Mercury is there, where Mercury is exalted. And what is the Aditya associated with Sun in the 12th?
Vishnu.
Nate, what's the mantra?
I don't know the month. Can I have the slide? Can I have the cheat sheet? I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, it's Hom Grine Surya.
Ungrene Suya.
No, it's not.
No.
I was just trying to kid you. Okay, it's Hom Grine. Come on, guys, help him out.
Vishnu.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Yes, Hom Grine Vishnu Aditya. And what is the sun in Virgo?
Om Grine Pusadyatya or something like that. Pusadyatya? No, that's Libra. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Grine Vivasvanad.
Thank you. Yes, it's Vivaswan. So Hom Grine Vivaswan Aditya.
Aditya.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back in and relearn.
Yeah,
or
I
not,
know. Guys,
Learn
I
for the
think,
first time the
yeah,
mantras. Yeah.
now, what I would like you to do is I think we need to end now. We do have with the Lodge good sessions going on. We have Naomi speaking on nakshatras, and I think it's like Arabic mansions and fixed stars. And then we have Richard Fiddler on talking about the whole thing of the discrepancies and what works and what doesn't between tropical zodiac and sidereal. If anyone is interested, you're welcome to attend. Now, for next time, I'm going to put in some little homework for your charts. I would like you to draw the charts, and there is a method of drawing the charts by hand. Okay, it's very simple. It's always the top, the top one is the east. The bottom one is the west. Okay? And we always go from east to west. Okay? From north to south, always. Yes? So when you're drawing the lines, we don't go like from bottom to top. Are you guys with me? Yeah? Maybe I will draw it out and put the lines in that direction so you understand that how to draw the chart. But I would like you to draw, just hand draw it in red sketch pen, red color, and put the planetary names. Is that okay for all your charts? Will you be able to do that? Written by hand, yeah, not by computer. As in, not you can have a look at the computer, you can use the computer by all means, but when you put it down on paper, blank piece of paper, but you have to write it in the red ink, draw it out, make a chart. Is that okay? Yeah, because it's very important. You see, in Vedic we have many remedies when it comes to the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. I'm doing a talk next week on the lunar eclipse and how we manifest things and how we can manifest things in lunar eclipse. The chart, drawing of the chart and doing kind of ritual and incantations becomes, and mantras becomes very vital for energizing the chart. So that's why I would like you to draw it by hand in red color or orange. Use any of those two colors, okay? Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sanal.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye.